Jangan lumayan dulu. Udah buang dulu, Bu. Jangan lumayan dulu. Jangan apa. Ayo, baca gitu. Kalau itu dari
Dr. Mal, so are we ready to start?
Yeah, Tuan Dekan. I think we can proceed now.
Okay, Dr. Sri is already on the line, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, semoga wabarakatuh and a very good afternoon to everyone. How are you, Dr. Sri?
Fine, thank you. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So, okay, first of all, I would like to welcome Her Excellency Dr. Sri to our webinar today. And then, so this is a program organized by Center of Studies for Town and Regional Planning and Southeast Asia Built Environment Research Center at Faculty of Architecture, Planning and Surveying, UiTM Shah Alam, in collaboration with UN Habitat. So we are really grateful to Dr. Sri for agreeing to appear on this webinar. And then the audience, basically the lecturers and students town planning from FSPU, UiTM, as well as students and lecturers from other public universities in Malaysia. And also rather big group from Plan Malaysia as well, and also town planners who are practicing in Malaysia. So I think in the list, the WebEx here, we have 210 participants, so more than 200 participants, and we also have participants who are joining us on YouTube. So YouTube, we also have FSPU Media YouTube going on at the same time. So like hundreds of participants today, so we are really grateful for everybody's attendance. So I think before we go, we start with recite Al-Fatiha first. Okay. Thank you, everyone. So we hope the MCO will end after 2 weeks, I think, or maybe 4 weeks. But for today's session, is going to be the plan is like for a 1 hour session. So about half an hour presentation by Dr. Sri Maimunah. And then after that Q&A, and then we end at 4 here. So I think Dr. Sri over there in Nairobi is 10 a.m., right? Is it?
Yes, it's 10 a.m. in the morning, sunny morning in Nairobi now, but cool at the 22 degrees.
22 degrees. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, inshallah, it's a bit cloudy today.
Yeah.
But okay, once again, thank you very much to Dr. Sri and everybody. So we go straight into what we plan to do today, which is a lecture by Dr. Sri Maimunah, which is on sustainable and inclusive, promoting sustainable and inclusive urbanization. But first, I would like to read a brief biography of Her Excellency. Okay. Her Excellency Dr. Sri Maimunah Muhammad Sharif is currently the Executive Director of the United Nations Human Settlements Program, or formerly known as UN Habitat, appointed at the level of Under Secretary General by the Secretary General following an election by the General Assembly on 22nd December 2017. She succeeds Dr. John Claus of Spain. Prior to this appointment, Her Excellency Datuk Sri Maimunah was the Mayor of the City Council of Penang Island, Malaysia. In 2011, she was the first woman to be appointed President of the Municipal Council of Seberang Perai. As Mayor of a local authority, she led the Municipal Council of Seberang Perai to achieve its vision of cleaner, greener, safer and healthier place to work, live, invest and play. Her Excellency Datuk Seri Maimunah began her career as a town planner at the Municipal Council of Penang Island in 1982. In 2003, she was promoted to Director of Planning and Development, a position she held until November 2009. Born in Kuala Pilah, Negeri Sembilan, on 26 August 1961, Her Excellency Datuk Seri Maimunah holds a Bachelor of Science with Honours in Town Planning from the University of Wales Institute of Science and Technology, United Kingdom, and a Master of Science in Planning from University Science Malaysia. Yes, sir. Yeah. Of course, the biography much longer than this, but we do the brief one for this because our session is only for 1 hour, and we like to listen to Datuk Sri, okay, to present on promoting sustainable and inclusive urbanization. And it's fitting as well because as we all know, this year in Malaysia we are celebrating 100 years of town planning. Okay, so with that, I'd like to invite Her Excellency Datuk Sri Maimunah to deliver a lecture today. Okay. Okay, Datuk Sri. Okay. The mic is yours.
Yeah. Terima kasih Profesor TPR Dr. Jamalun Laili Abdullah, the Dean of Faculty of Architecture, Planning and Surveying. And also thank you very much to TPR Dr. Marliana Aziati Marzuki, Head of the Studies for Town and Regional Planning. All the Deputy Deans, Head of Centers, lecturers and students. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi daripada Nairobi dan selamat tengah hari. 3 petang saya dijangkakan di Kuala Lumpur di Malaysia. Saya ingin mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih kepada UiTM kerana telah pun berjemput saya untuk berkongsi pengalaman dan juga berkongsi pengetahuan. I feel honoured. Topik yang telah pun diberikan kepada saya adalah promoting sustainable and inclusive urbanization. So di sini saya telah pun diperkenalkan oleh Profesor tadi. Saya tidak akan ulangi lagi dan saya ingin berbincang berkaitan dengan 3 perkara. So let me continue with English because the PowerPoint is also prepared in English together with my colleagues. And again, thank you very much and happy 100 years town planning in Malaysia. So I would like to structure my perkongsian, my sharing in 3 parts. One is the issue, where I will highlighted some of the most pressing unsustainable urbanization trends. So I've already sent the PowerPoint to your team. So I hope that they can show the PowerPoint on screen from Kuala Lumpur. And second, I will look into the opportunities, the issues. I think the COVID-19 is a wake-up call for all of us. The impact of urbanization, the impact of the way that we have to look into the new planning model, and it's very, very much and very, very important that today that we are together with the lecturers, the students, and also the practitioners in Malaysia. And I'm very happy, and I can see that familiar names on the screen. That's all my friends and my good colleagues when I was in Malaysia. And we have to look into the planning models and the business models. I think this is very, very important. And the second, I will look into the opportunity. What are the opportunity? Where we'll be discussing the global standard of the sustainable development goal and the new urban agenda. I think the COVID-19 is already shown to us that the lacking of the wake up call for all of us, the impact of urbanization, and at the same time to rethink what are the planning model, the business model, not only for Malaysia but also for globally. So we are looking, UN Habitat is looking into that, and we will be publishing our publication soon in hopefully by end of February on the future cities. And this is and now we are in the UN, we are talking about the new business model, the new planning model, and also what is good at the existing model, how we can scale up. So second, the third I will look into after looking at the opportunities, what are the tools? Where are the tools that I will share with some of the inspiring practices with you? Because the tools is not always the same for every country or for every nations, but we can share with our good practices, even in Malaysia, in the local government, in the national government, even in university, there are many inspiring practices and tools that we can share together with the world. So let me begin with the challenge. I hope that you can put my slide on the screen, hopefully. Yeah, let us begin with the challenge, the unsustainable urbanization trend. Today, 55% of the world population live in urban areas. And this number is predicted to increase 68% by 2050. So these figures may not new to you, but this is very, very crucial, and to understand the issues that come with such rapid urban development. It's very, very important for us to look into that the city is the engine of growth. We used to say that the engine of growth, the city is the innovation hub. The cities is also having rapid urban development, and there is also rural urban linkages from the rural area to the cities. So I hope that colleague can mute your mic so that it won't be any interruption during the discussion. Thank you very much. And I also would like to see that is one of the major challenges. Khairul Izzat bin Muhammad Zaini, can you mute your mic, please? It's stated on the screen. Khairul Izzat bin Muhammad Zaini, mute your mic. Thank you very much. Thank you. So one of the major challenges in our cities today is the lack of housing. Housing for all. I think around 1.8 billion people and more than 20% of the world population are lack of adequate housing. So this is also, if you look into the Malaysian perspective, I think it's not new. So this is very important for us to look into the main challenge is that.
Betul nih, jangan rentis nih.
Nurul Halina, can you mute your mic, please? I have only 30 minutes to deliver my okay, thank you very much, Nurul Halina. Yeah, the main challenge with housing is that affordable housing is often inadequate. Yeah, affordable housing is often inadequate. And while adequate housing is often unaffordable. So when we talk about housing, there must be a 3A: accessible, affordable, and also adequate. So this is where is the balance. So I think this COVID-19 pandemic showed us how people living in inadequate housing and in slum and informal settlement are the hit the hardest in the cities. So I think the absence of the basic services and prevalence of stress and unhealthy living condition contribute to the poor health. So in turn, poor health can have negative impacts on the peoples, and especially the student. When you have to study at home, now lockdown in Malaysia, and also we come with the emergency. I think this is very, very stressful and very, very challenging for those people, for those mothers, for those fathers, and the students to stay at home at the same time to link with the educations and work. So I think it's, if planned, constructed, and maintained well, housing can be an integral building block for urban development and promotes healthy and dignity, well-being, and safety and inclusion. So this is very important. Runza. So slide. There's no slides. Yeah.
I think they're trying.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's good. Yeah. Okay. I'm talking to my assistant. Okay.
Yes, I
Then
think
the next slide.
we are starting to share slide.
Yeah. Okay. So the first major challenge is the housing. Of course, is UN Habitat is a human settlement. Housing is very, very important for us. Second is the lack of safe access to basic services. This is very, very important to us. That you can see that is in around half of the world population. Around half of the world population, 4.2 billion people do not have access to adequate sanitation. So they use sanitation services that leave human waste untreated, threatening human and environmental health. So an estimated that 673 million people will have no toilet at all, and nearly 698 million children lack of basic sanitation at their school. So this is the major second major challenge that from our perspective. That's why in our strategic plan we are looking into the lack into the basic access, because access to basic services is a human right. So I will go straight to slide number 8. So the consequences of this poor sanitation is very devastating, and lack of safe sanitation causes illness, disease such as cholera, and often most vulnerable as children and persons with disabilities. And the worst is that, according to UNICEF and World Health Organization, every 830,000 people will die. Every 830,000 people will die from preventable diseases if nothing is being done. So the environmental impact are devastating and impact the entire communities. This is very, very important for us to see that something has been done. And COVID-19 has exposed the challenges, that exposed the weaknesses, not only in Malaysia but also cities can contribute to better health, better environment, sustainable economies, inclusive and healthy services. So this one is very, very important for us to see that we must be rural urban linkages. When we talk about cities, we don't forget about the rural area, the intermediate cities. So this is very important. And the third challenge I would like to share with you from our perspective is that climate action. What is the urban areas are the major contributors to climate change. We used to know that account 71 to 76% of carbon emission from global final energy use. Because as you said, that city is a center for economic growth. Cities is also a center for all these challenges, the carbon emission. And globally, 20% of the greenhouse emission are from the transport sector. So with road emission being the biggest subset. So unfortunately, Malaysia is also part of the problem of over 93% of household owning a car. Economic growth in Malaysia will translate into a higher mobility demand that requires new investment and management to avoid potential negative externalities. So now a new business model have to rethink, and university and practitioners and those people who are doing the research, I think this is the time for us to look into a new model. Travel demand across all modes of transport in Malaysia more than triple, from 13 million trips per day in 1991 to 40 million in 2010. So this is cars, congestion, pollutions, increase in the road accidents and all that. So we go to the next slide. And the greenhouse emission is also a major contributor to climate change, which in turn has led to an increase in national disasters. Yes, I heard about about big banjir in Malaysia now, in Pahang and in Johor, also in Kelantan. Even though I'm in Nairobi, I keep very close with what is happening in Malaysia and in increase in natural disasters. So globally, 14 million people are made homeless as a result of sudden natural disasters, including floods and storms. South and Southeast Asia are affected, and 8 out of 10 countries with the highest level of displacement and housing loss being located here. So I think it's very important for us to look into the climate change and climate action, and at the same time, hundreds of people from urban
Oh,
area
dah
are
cakap
likely
tu. Potonglah lagi.
by rising sea
Kalau
level.
takkan dia letak lagi kat situ.
Increase inland flood and more frequent stronger cyclone as happened in Philippines and other part of the world. So, but kawan-kawan, colleagues, it's not everything is just a challenge. I think when there is a challenge, there is also an opportunities. So there is a need urgently to act now, and there are opportunities to ensure sustainable development in cities. And I would like to present to you a few, and maybe we can discuss. So let's look into the opportunities. All of you had already known about the SDG, Sustainable Development Goal. When even I was a young dipertua di Seberang Perai dan juga Datuk Ganda di MBPP, saya telah cuba untuk melihat kepada Sustainable Development Goal. Bagaimana the 17 goal been implemented globally and also at the local level, because things happen at the local level. So this is very important that the new urban agenda and many of the issues that we just saw just now directly covered by the SDG. Housing fall under SDG 11 on sustainable cities, and basic services are part of SDG 6. Clean water and sanitation and climate action is SDG 13. So this is very important to me. I think that is each of us, either as an institution or as a person, we should link our act and our consciously to the sustainable development goal. When we take this action, where we are in achieving the SDG, even as a person, not as an institution, but as a person, as a family, as a mother, as a sister, as an auntie, or as a father, mother. So this is very important that human settlement and cities are highly relevant to the SDG. So that's why we have the Agenda 2030 for the Sustainable Development Goal, which endorse this vision. So this is very important. You see on the slide how relevant it is, the 17 SDG to our day-to-day. And this is also important maybe to look into the new curriculum, how it fit to the university, how it fit to the local government, how it fit to the national government, how it fit to the research center. So sustainable urban development is linked to a number of SDGs, and SDGs 5 on gender equality, which relate to urban safety. SDG 8, job creation, decent work, and youth engagement. How far that we link to youth. SDG 12 is responsible for consumption. We are talking about, I think now, many local authorities talking about circular economy. But how far have you looked into the research, into the implementation of the circular economy, the green economy, the green recovery? So I think this is, we have to break down the circular economy, the green economy into action, and which we can monitor the impact, and which also include SDG 12. It also include urban waste management. It's one of the areas. So when we look into SDG 11, most explicitly affirm the importance on cities and communities for the attainment of sustainable and inclusive development. So under SDG 11, you can see that it's target on housing, on transport, on inclusion, culture and natural heritage, natural disaster, the environment. This SDG in 2015 and a new urban agenda in 2016. Now, after 5 years of the new urban agenda, what happened? Can we go back and look into our tracking system, where we are now? I think the COVID-19 pandemic has reaffirmed the importance of delivering of all targets of SDG 11. So this is brought to light the shocking reality about air pollution, lack of access to public, open public spaces. I think this many cities has increased the vulnerability of the urban poor to shock and stresses. I think this is very important. You can see on the screen the target 11.1 to 11.6. So I think this is very important. UN Habitat together with UCLG and also the city of New York has already launched the voluntary local review, where university can work together with the local government to see what are the status of their implementation of the SDG. So Malaysia shouldn't be left behind, but I know that we are already working together with Urbanist Malaysia and the Ministry of Local Government, so that as many as possible, the local government, but with these universities and researchers to come out to see that where we are, where are the Malaysian cities, where are the Malaysian government as a nation in terms of the implementation of SDGs and achieving the new urban agenda. So SDGs, we have, if you can see that a total 196 targets with 231 unique indicators that are part of the global monitoring framework. So 80 are around, or 1/3 of the unique indicators have an urban component and can be measured at the local level. This is very, very important. And these indicators have a direct connection to urban policies and clear impact to cities and human settlement. So over half of them are explicitly relevant to local government. In fact, 65% of the SDGs may not be fully achieved without the involvement of urban and local actors. So this is the importance of community participation, and community is also include here, or not only the NGO, include here the lecturers, include here the student, include also here the researchers. That's what I meant by community here. So the new urban agenda plays an equally critical role. Can you go to the slide 18, please? The critical role in the achievement of the sustainable development. So this is how we can look, is endorsed in 2016. If you have a very good eyes, you can spot me in this photograph. I'm wearing a pink baju kurung there. So this photograph was in 2016 in Quito when I was a Yang di-Pertua Majlis Perbandaran Seberang Pride at that time. That's where we endorse all the government, including Malaysia, endorse the new urban agenda. And please, if you can read, I would like to recommend all of you to read the new urban agenda, because it's become from the shared vision to principle commitment, the call for action, transformative communities for sustainable urban development. It includes sustainable, inclusive, and prosperity opportunities for all. Include also environmental, sustainable, resilient urban development, and so on. And include the means of implementation. Revisit and back new urban agenda. This is very important because it includes the 5 Ps: the people, planet, and promote prosperity and peace. So this is very important for us to look into the way that the cities are planned, design, finance, develop, govern, manage, and build cooperation with committed partners, relevant stakeholders, and urban sectors at all levels of government. That's important, as well as the private sector, to support the implementation of the 2030 agenda. This is an opportunities part of it, that you look into the new urban agenda, because the vision of the new urban agenda is to ensure the right to the city, which means equal use and enjoyment of cities and human settlement, seeking to promote inclusivity and ensure all inhabitants and future generations without discrimination of any kind are able to inhabit and produce just, safe, healthy, accessible, affordable, resilient, sustainable cities, and to prosperity and quality of life for all. So this is very, very important to revisit. And there are also made but 3 transformative commitments. The first one is social inclusion and ending poverty. Second aim is the urban prosperity and opportunities for all. And the third is to promote environmental sustainability and resilience. I think this is what happened in Malaysia in terms of the natural disasters, and also the what happened in the COVID-19, the economics and all that. I think we have to sit down and ponder and come up with a new thinking. and all the thinking that was really the practice was really good, we have to scale up. So the 5 pillars in the implementation of new urban agenda is that one is national urban policy. This is very, very important for us to have the national urban policy with include comprehensive land use planning or land use, because whatever happened to the land, whatever, how can we implement the policy? This policy will be implemented on the ground. So the land use planning is very important. Number 2, rules and regulation is very important, which touches the status, legal status or urban plans, public spaces legislation, grantees to public services. Third is the urban planning and design, very, very much to the UITM and to those all of you already known. And fourth is on the financing of the urbanization. When we do the plan, don't really short sendiri and putting all the land uses without thinking how can we finance our plan. Whether you are doing the local plan or action area plan, whatever it is, how can we finance? How can we invite? We should have not only stop at the land use planning, but also include the financing, the urbanization. And the fifth is the local implementation. This is very important through the community-driven. I believe in the community-driven development. I have maybe I have another 5 more minutes of the time. I'm trying to do it very fast. So the SDG and the new urban agenda signify the global commitment. But with the global commitment, without the local implementation, it won't go anywhere. So I think that is where all of you, your action at any level is very, very important, because this one is need multi-scalar and multi-sectoral collaboration. Many countries have developed their unique action plan for achieving the SDGs and implementation of the new urban agenda. Malaysia has made a significant contribution by hosting the 9th session of the World Urban Forum in Kuala Lumpur in 2018, and came out with the Kuala Lumpur what do you call it, the action or that the series of the action that you need. Declaration, yes, the Kuala Lumpur Declaration. Look back, how many of you have seen the Kuala Lumpur Declaration on the 9th session of World Urban Forum? How far the Kuala Lumpur Declaration been implemented in Malaysia? Even though it's World Urban Forum, I also asked the same question when I delivered my message or my speech in Moscow, and now our new urban forum will be in Katowice, in also new urban forum last year in Abu Dhabi. We did it, and we had declaration. How far that we have already implemented. We don't want to, that's why in new urban the World Urban Forum in Abu Dhabi last year, I don't want to see any more declaration. I want to see declare action. You declared your action, the member state declared action, local government declared action, and you have your timeline. So this is very, very important. So let me go to the what UN Habitat can do, can help you. So we have our strategic plan. I don't want to share, I don't want to go through, but our strategic plan, this was implemented during my time. It was approved in 2019. I came to UN Habitat in 2018. This is my first UN Habitat strategic plan during my tenure, and will be is approved by the UN Habitat General Habitat Assembly, UN Habitat Assembly in May 2019. This is our vision is a better quality of life for all in an urbanizing world. The word urbanizing world here is not talking about only cities, because what we mean here, urbanizing world, what urbanizing here is that what is the facilities that you can find in the city, you should have the facilities also in rural area. We have to urbanize in terms of giving facilities, not urbanize here putting up skyscrapers, but more on the facilities and the chances, equal chances between rural and urban. So we have 4 domains: spatial equality and poverty. We have shared properties in cities, climate action and improve urban environment, and urban crisis prevention and response. So you can look into this into our website. I don't want to go to very detail because it is we don't have much time. But the most important thing I would like to put here is that the human right, gender, children, youth, and older person disability is a cross-cutting issues. It's not one domain. Is when you talk about poverty, you need to include all this. It is called social inclusion in our topic just now, urbanization, inclusion. So whatever project that we do, we have to think about human right, gender, children, youth, older person, and disability. So this is very, very important. So on the note of the local implementation, I would like to move to the third session. The third and final part of my lecture is the tool and the inspiring practices. So this is very important that UN Habitat is organization. I'm proud to be the executive director of the UN Habitat, and our objective is to promote socially and environmentally sustainable human settlement. So we have a few examples here I would like to share with you. This is our mandate and mission, and at the same time, SDG and the new urban agenda is the main factor that we're carrying out. And at the same time, we have our normative work, giving guidelines. Maybe you can read our World Cities, the World Cities report, the value of sustainable urbanization. You can download from our website. The new urban agenda platform, the catalog of services, the COVID-19 in an urban world. This is we prepared this and been launched by the Secretary General last year, and of course our strategic plan and many others. Please visit our for the normative work or the tools that we can share with you. So on the operational work, this is very, very diverse. On housing, we have generated a citywide profile for informal settlement in city of Philippines. I'm taking some example in Asia. The project included a profiling of 186 community associations comprising of 33,000 families and population for more than 130,000 people. So we are doing city profiling with the European Union support. UN Habitat is also having a large-scale project in Malawi and also in Nepal. We have a project in Nepal on rehabilitate the damaged point in this. And on climate action, UN Habitat is working now with 2 cities in Malaysia. I'm very happy that Iskandar and Malacca is with us to improve the sustainable mobility. So apart from the wider global future cities program, this program funded by UK, the Iskandar will benefit from smart mobility management system and Malacca from the integrated mobility plan for the heritage area. So this help to reduce carbon footprint and improve air quality and achieve more sustainable mobility. And we also have working with over 220 countries, including Indonesia and Malaysia. And we are also having the UN Habitat Global Public Spaces Program. And also would like to highlight here, we are currently carrying out work with Shah Alam to accelerate the implementation of ASEAN Sustainable Urbanization Strategy. We are involved with ASEAN to come up with the ASEAN Sustainable Urbanization Strategy and also the SDG and new urban agenda. So we are working to improve the urban safety and basic services delivery in Shah Alam through smart and safe city program. We also work hand in hand on the normative work throughout. So I also would like to see here the importance of building capacity. You can see that one planner in 600,000 in Bangladesh, one planner in 450,000 in Tanzania, East Africa, and one planner in 90,000 population in Malaysia. So are we in? Do you think it's enough? One planner in for 90,000. So I think this is very, very important for us because in Malaysia, where urban population growth is at 2.1%, the ratio of one planner for every 90,000 people to me is not adequate. So especially when I was in Penang that time, the state government of Penang working together now with UN Habitat on implementing the City Prosperity Initiative to help the state to achieve Vision 2030. And we aligned it with the Sustainable Development Goal. So this is about the localizing the SDG and informing the state policy and ensuring the community participation and how is it affect the right kind of investors and remains and Penang remains competitive. So to strengthen the global capacity, planning capacity to operate, I think we need to take evidence-based approach. It's very, very important to have a data. With lack of data, I think we don't have an information. We can only have a statistic, but not information, because plus data, statistic, plus information, plus analysis, it become a information and data. So I think this is very important into this area of having the data and how we can manage data. And I would like to go to look into the in terms of the trend and the setting norm. Now you can see on the screen. I don't need to explain in more detail because of the time. And again, I also would like to see the disaster risk reduction and emergency planning. I think this is very, very important, as the COVID-19 pandemic has made it very clear. So in response to all of us, the city need better plan for emergencies. So UN Habitat has published various guideline document as a guideline for urban planning response in crisis context. On report how to best respond to Beirut port explosion, we already have immediately after Beirut been exploded. Even my office in Beirut been affected. My people also affected. They landed in the hospital. We quickly came up with the crisis response. So you can look at with the Swedish government funding. So we already have the urban planning responses in post crisis context with, and also with the Beirut and the COVID-19 response for the activities in Africa. So this is very, very important. You can look into that. And the third areas of is on the demographic aging. I think this is very, very important. That Malaysia also is not very far from this. So we have to look into the more than 1 billion people aged 60 years and older and living now in low and middle income countries. This is very important. I can have more details, but I can share with you later. And another one is also the upcoming event. It will be the International Youth Day, the World Habitat Day, the World Cities Day, and I put here the Malaysia Urban Forum. Hopefully, it will be 28th to 30th September 2021, and the Urban October. Please put in your calendar so that you can be part of this all program that UN Habitat is doing. So finally, I would like to end my message that effective and action towards inclusive sustainable urban development is very, very important. I think you student, professor and academia play a major role in driving research and can inform operational project and global norm. It's very important for us, for you to have the tools to get very accurate data. We are now putting up, you can look into our UN Habitats data center and you can extract whatever that you would like to have. And can you go to the next slide? This is our habitats. Yeah, this is when you want to stay connected. This is all our website, our resource, and for find the resources and engagement to our Facebook. At the same time, yeah, I would like to end my presentation with this is the integrated approach. This is very important. Integrated approach is more than just integrated planning. That's why I put the approach. You have to do it integrated and holistic. You cannot do it by departmental or ministerial. You need somebody to integrate the approach, and people-centered process actually is the key to achieve the sustainable urbanization. This is very, very important. Next slide, please. Thank you very much. That is my Twitter, my Facebook, my Instagram, but I'm ready to answer any question. I'm so sorry that I go beyond the time 30 minutes given to me. Thank you very much, Professor. Over to you. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, thank you very much, Imaudiyah, Datuk Sri Kampan Manila. Okay, really an enlightened talk to all of us, and then showing that the issue and then the challenges facing all of us. So, and thank you also very much for keeping within the time, and we understand that you have a lot of slides you'd like to share with all of us. And so now we go for the Q&A session. So we have about 15 minutes. We are okay with the time here, so it depends Datuk Sri, like how much time you have like to answer the question, because we understand you have a lot of meetings and tests today. But basically,
Never mind, Professor. I have the time for Malaysia and for you.
Okay, thank you very much, Sri, because as you can see the participants here, like, it's like number 300. First, one apology, there is kind of a distraction just now. We tried to mute those who forget to unmute, but we can only do it if they use a computer, but for handphone, we are unable to do that. So we hope all of you please check, like, if please mute your microphone. And there was Dato' Sri, before we go to the serious question, there was the question whether we can share the slides that you presented just now. Is that possible?
No problem, Prof. You can share.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
no
so
problem.
what we'll do, since like it's a long list here, what we'll do is that we put it in FSPU website. So then you'll be able to get the slide, and even the recording also we put it in FSPU website. So it's fspu.uitm.edu.my. Okay, but you can Google FSPU UITM. Okay, so before I open for the others, perhaps Dato' Sri mentioned just now, quite a number here from the academic, and then the challenge for the academic to do more research. So we are hoping perhaps after this be able to like collaborate and then maybe start with UN Habitat, like willing like within the policy that we sign MOU with the university and start collaboration. Is that possible?
Kak, tolong tekan tu Kak.
Prof,
Yes.
as far as working together with any organization in Malaysia or UITM, I think I fully welcome, because we would like to have more collaboration with also with the universities and with any other organization. But it's just that you need the process. There will be a process to it that we can, at the end of the day, we can sign the MOU. But I was talking to my colleague. I don't want to sign an MOU. I would like to sign the AOA, Agreement of Action, because we've been signing a lot of memorandum of understanding. We already have, we understand each other already. We need to collaborate. But what action do we want? So I said, I don't want MOU, I want MOA or AOA, Agreement of Action. We have certain projects, certain plan that we want to achieve with a timeline, then we are most welcome. So I can link you to my colleague who are doing this MOA or AOA with UN Habitat. Thank you very much for the interest to join with us.
Yeah, that one is even much better, because then we go straight into the action and we doing whatever is needed to be done as soon as possible. Okay, so we really appreciate that, Dato' Sri. And then see, we have like 300 participants here, so I like to open to participants who want to ask a question. So anybody who like to ask a question first?
Assalamualaikum.
Salam.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Okay,
Yes, silakan.
Assalamualaikum. All right. Dr. Sri, Prof. J, I'm Dr. Hafiza from FSPU. Dr. Sri have mentioned before that the population is increasing, and of course, the elderly generation are also increased. So, is there any specific focus or strategies for the accessible, affordable, and adequate, or any strategies to focus on elderly population for the welfare of the elderly population? Thank you.
Can I answer that, Dr. Sri?
To take a few questions, or I answer one by one?
For due to time constraint, let's do like 3 questions first. Okay, so that's the first one, is on the elderly. Okay, any other question for Dato' Sri? In the chat, Dato' Sri, macam mana nak pastikan selain pada orang culture serius orang mencantikkan SDG, tapi orang politik juga perlu selairan dengan matlamat ini. Macam mana nak pastikan orang politik di Malaysia menunjukkan salah satu mereka hujangkan dan agenda bersama. So that means like to buy in the politicians. Okay, how to do that? Okay. Okay, any other question?
Okay, tak apa. So you can share your presentation.
Excuse me? I think the question about to share the presentation, we will post it in our website, and also the lecture also was like an FSPU Facebook, so that one also we're going to put in our website, the recording. Okay. I think that hope that's fine, Dato' Sri, if you put the recording in our website.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Dato' Sri. Okay, anybody?
Okay, maybe
Yes, Dato' Sri, go ahead to answer the question.
maybe while waiting for the questions, I think let me answer the question from if I'm not mistaken from Puan Hafiza, and another one is on the chat. Yeah, when the topic talking about sustainable and inclusive urbanization, when you talk about inclusive, it also should include elderly. Elderly is 60 and above. I'm already in the category of elderly. I'm already 60 this year. So I think when we look into the universal guideline, we have, I think we even have the in Malaysia, we even have the bylaw, universal. So meaning that when we talk about the inclusive, is from born or even before the baby is born until the last day. That is where the inclusivity is all about. I think we have to look into this. So when we plan for the elderly, and then we plan for all. I believe that, because if we, in terms of the universal guidelines and all that. So I think this is very, very important for us when we look into the plan, whether you are doing the policies or you are doing the actual development on the ground, or you are doing the plan for the local government, or for the national government. I think the universality or inclusivity must be there. So I think this is one of the area that not only in Malaysia, the many cities that I travel, they are lacking. And now they are moving towards that. Because when they believe, they even mention, if the city is planned for women, you will plan for all. If the city plan for disabled, will be planned for all. Because we are going to that area, to that direction also. I think this is very, very important for us, especially now the time for us to look into our existing guideline. The COVID-19 has already proved it. And this is a time for us now to relook, to rethink the existing guideline, the existing policy. Are we going to move forward with that? Are we going to repeat? So I think this is very important for us. And for the second question, I think when you're talking about the politician and all that, yes, politicians are also a consumer. Politicians are also a stakeholder. So I think that is important for us to gain knowledge and to discuss with them, to put forward. Because sometimes we have a very problematic in terms of convincing. We must look for knowledge to convince in order to convince, must have a data, evidence base. In order to convince, we must have a example. So you cannot just say that you can, oh yeah, YB, you cannot do this, you cannot do that, you cannot do this. But why? Why I cannot do that? Why I should do that? So I think this is for us to look. I think university is the best place to think for all this and take stock. Take stock for all for what happened, especially now we're talking about Malaysia. Take stock and then see how we can move forward. So that is my answer. Thank you very much. Prof, over to you again.
Thank you very much, Dato' Sri. Okay, I think there's another question. Is it possible for more technical persons to be involved in the top management in Malaysia? Okay, that's one question. Okay, any other question? When there's question, Dato' Sri, I have also like while waiting for the others who have the question, related that you mentioned on COVID-19 that require us to relook again into how our city works, And basically what I've read like that the two different viewpoints. One saying that okay, we cannot have the high density anymore like we used to have. Okay. But another point was saying that the high density should stay because they've seen they showed the example of like maybe Hong Kong that where the high density can work. So for UN Habitat, does it already have like kind of a conclusion related to that? Or is there certain like immediate action plan of cities need to do as soon as possible to tackle COVID-19 in terms of our practice so far?
The question. We have a lot of debates, not only in UN Habitat. We also debate with the World Bank, debate with the World Economic Forum. We have I'm in the Global Future Cities under the World Economic Forum. I think the World Economic Forum will be in Singapore in May this year. I hope that maybe the many of you can join either online or I'm not sure whether I can go back to Singapore. Maybe I can stop by in Malaysia in May. And this high density versus overcrowding. There are two things. It can be the program or the project can be high density but not overcrowded. The problem now is overcrowding. It can be low density but overcrowding. For example, there is terrace houses or bungalow houses, but there are 100 and over people living in that. I think Singapore have proven that when they have the high density of the housing development in that area, they are very well planned. We have public spaces, we have school, we have stadium, and a lot, even the high density versus the increase is in the COVID at that time where we shared by a colleague from Singapore during our World Economic Forum Global Future Cities discussion. The problem is that where is overcrowding in the areas. It's not the high density. If you have a high density but have ample space for public spaces, ample space for public facilities, stadium, and the people, that is okay. The problem now is overcrowding. So we in UN Habitat, in our future cities publication end of February, we are going towards that. We are not saying that no to high density, but high density must be well planned with public spaces, with facilities, and also with cultures and all these recreational activities. And we realize that even the low density, if it's overcrowding, that is what is the cause of COVID-19. So conclusion is that we would like to see that a well-planned, well-designed development of cities. And there are also many of these new method or new design coming in. I think the mayor of Paris came out with a 15 minutes cities. I think we already started. I think during the Peter Hall book, the neighborhood planning. I think during my first year in UK, neighborhood planning, where you can walk to school, you can cycle to the public spaces. So we go back to that very basic. So I think the mayor of Paris has come up with a 15 minutes planning, and also the Donut City in Melbourne. So this is a lot of new ideas now. I can share with you because I'm in the Global Future Cities in the World Economic Forum. Or if you can maybe after this, I can share with Prof or Mariana all the articles that is really come up with the new ideas now. So I think this is very important. And the second question, whether the more technical people in the management in Malaysia, I think I can't answer that directly, but I think that it should be we should have more people who are brave enough to move forward and share our ideas to the management, the top management in Malaysia, because I know that they are willing to listen. But the only thing is that we have to put it proper. They have a protocol to go, they have a process to go. But more often than not, we can only look into the social media. But are we brave enough to prepare a concept paper, policy paper, delivered to them? Look, this is what we believe we should go forward this way. I think that is more important than just discussing in the social media, and we cannot go anywhere. Thank you very much. Over to you, Prof.
Thank you very much, Prof.
Yeah, Dr. Sri. Dr.
Yes.
Sri, may I say something? I'm Oliver. Can you hear me?
Yes, proceed, Dr. Oliver.
Yeah, Dr. Sri. Yeah, Prof. J. Yeah, I'm Oliver, lecturer from the Faculty of Architecture Planning. I'm also a town planning lecturer lah. Actually, maybe I have some different opinion related to the COVID-19 and the challenge for the city, because mostly now we are looking on the how to disinfection maybe, or how we can avoid the infection of the virus. But maybe for me, the virus is something like we quite hard to avoid. Actually, for example, like normal flu virus, I think most of people we are carrying the virus. So most important is the COVID-19 only more seriously attack those we have the non-communicable disease called the chronic illness. Maybe this is the right time for us to rethink how we to increase our healthy level for all the citizens, especially not only the communicable disease, because sometimes we are more focused on communicable disease. But actually, the most serious issue is from the non-communicable disease, for example, like diabetes, the heart problem, the high blood pressure. Because those patients, the non-communicable disease patient are high risk for the COVID-19. But actually, also same thing, the non-communicable disease patient are also the increase the medical cost actually for the nation and also the society. So for me, since we are facing the issue of COVID-19, our city development and also the healthcare development, I think we should more focus how to improve our healthy lifestyle. Our city development should be more physically friendly and increase people to walk more, to physically more active and take care of themselves and eat healthily. Then if we can reduce the cases or percentage of non-communicable disease, then I think it's more important. We can cut costs of the medical costs and also can not so worry about the COVID-19 because mostly it's attacking the patient with the NCD, non-communicable disease. So I think the city development should be more physical friendly and for the healthy lifestyle, for example. Not really like we should affect on the virus. That's why I also worry due to the social distancing and we reduce the social activity, that means we are less active actually. If we're less active, then we increase the percentage of the non-communicable disease. Then we will be exposed to the COVID-19 actually. So for me, we should encourage the physical activity, more sports activity, we should encourage the recreational activity. Then if we increase our healthiness, then we are more anti to the COVID-19 actually. So I feel that maybe, I don't know whether we should increase the outdoor activity, the sports activity, or we should increase the, how to say, the movement control. So it's suitable is a movement control or actually is increase the physical activity, exercise is more important. Which one more important actually? Maybe for me it's a physical activity, not really the movement control because we hardly to control the virus separation actually. Yeah, what is your view, Dato' Suri?
Prof, I will answer the question from Dr. Oliva, yeah?
Okay,
Yes, doctor, I think I totally agree with you in terms of health. I think that's why immediately after the COVID-19 somewhere in March last year, I think if I'm not mistaken, in July, we published together the World Health Organization putting health facilities or health entity in the territorial planning. Yes, health is very important, and you can see the what they call it, the statistic. Those people who get easily into the COVID-19, and also in the death rate is mostly people who have previously have the health problem like diabetic, high blood pressures, and all that. So I think that I agreed with you saying that we have to have a when I was in Penang or in Seberang Perai at that time, we promote the cleaner, greener, safer, and healthier cities. And at the end of the day, we have happy people living in the cities. So health is very important. So I'm also a bit, even though it's in Nairobi here, most of the park is accessible to public. But you have to come up with a very strict SOP. So I'm also looking into a few, I think a few action taken by the local government or the government of Malaysia when they put stop to using of the parks and public spaces. So I think this is need to rethink, because when we open up the parks, and then people, as you said, Doctor, you people can exercise, but sometimes our people are not that disciplined. So you have to do the strict SOP when you use the park. But if you close the park and you ask people to lock down, staying in the house, I think this is even more implication to the end. That is my personal opinion. But that's why in Nairobi here, we can go to safari, we can go to the parks. But when you go, before you go in, they check your temperature, you make sure that you are having your mask, and then you have a distance. So I think this is very important in terms of discipline of our people to adhere to the strict SOP in Malaysia as far as COVID-19 is concerned. So I think, as you said, that is first part is the to remain healthy is very, very important. Then we talk about the others. I agree with you, Dr. Aliba. Thank you very much. Prof, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. I think I have a question in the Facebook. We have about 100 people there. So there's one question from Mr. Lee Listen from MDPJ, and he's asking, and NUA and SDG goals were formulated prior to the current COVID-19 pandemic. So now with COVID-19, do we have any plan to revise the target and KPI of the NUA and SDG? And then another one from him is that taking into the current trade war between US and China, okay, then can SDG be achieved by 2030, okay, with the economic condition? And then how do countries like Malaysia need to respond with all of these challenges? Okay, so back to you, Dr. Sri.
Thank you very much, Prof, and thank you very much for the questions. I think if you look back at the Sustainable Development Goal, it's shown in my slide just now, there are 17 SDG. I think that SDG is very broad and very strategic. You know, I think regardless whether is we are now in the COVID or not, because if you revisit the SDG, if you revisit the new urban agenda, and we look at our on our side, how far have we implemented that? It's still, to me, SDG and the new urban agenda is still relevant, even during, even more relevant during this COVID-19, and to look to what extent, to where we are in implementing the Sustainable Development Goal, even though it's in 2015 and the new urban agenda in 2016. Do we have the data? Do we have the information to what extent that we already implement it? I think this is very, very important. I think, to me, the SDG and new urban agenda is more relevant now for all the countries who signed the new urban agenda, the SDG, to all the member states, including Malaysia, even now to relook. And even as you look into SDG 11, you're talking about safe and affordable housing. Where are we now? You look into SDG 11.2, affordable and sustainable transport system. Where are we now? When you talk about the reduce the adverse effect of natural disaster, SDG 11.5, where are we now? So I think we are even more, to me, even more relevant now than any other times. And that's why now, hopefully, that we will have our high-level meeting in next year, 2022, to relook the new urban agenda, Equito +5, meaning that is after 5 years, what happened? Where are we now? So there are many people saying that is our what they call it, the implementation of the SDG even now been moved backwards due to the 1 year COVID-19. So I think now we have to really look forward. And another one is about what is the second one, Prof? I cannot get it just now. The second one
is about whether now with the current
US and
between
US
US
and
and China.
Yeah, I think this is also been discussed, but I think that is on and generally all of us would like to see the globally as the vision of our strategic plan to provide better quality of life for all in urbanizing world, even though that is politically is, of course they have a political challenges, but we as a UN, and we are working very hard, working together with all the 193 member states, putting up our mandate. For example, that our mandate of UN Habitat is on human settlement. So we are putting up a lot of suggestion, a lot of papers, and a lot of publication to help the countries, regardless. Because if you look into the global politics, there are a lot of things happening. But for us in the UN, we're still moving forward and working together with all the member states. Thank you very much, Prof. Over to you.
Okay. I don't know how much time you have. Okay, I start to see that there's a lot of new questions coming into the chat. If you have like 5 or 10 minutes more, then I will read them to you. Please unmute yourself, Dato' Sri.
My assistant said I have 10 more minutes before
Okay.
I have to go for another meeting. Yes,
that
10
is okay.
minutes.
Because we are already like 10 minutes ahead, more than our local time. Maybe there are two questions I will pick here. One is that with the natural disaster, okay, that is question, how to contain natural disaster and achieve sustainability when development itself is the main cause. So there's one of this, and then another one is like that's related to inilah pencemaran di Pasir Gudang, where penduduk tu padat lah. So this is the like related question related to overcrowding. Should public transport planning be priority since now overcrowding is an issue as well? So that'll be the last question lah for today.
Thank you very much, Prof. Yes, I actually, my assistant is already extend my time for 10 minutes and already contact the other party to have a meeting 10 minutes later. I think for Malaysia and for all of you, for my friends. Yeah, I think the natural disaster versus nature versus development. I think now many discussion, many forum, we would like to go back to nature-based solution. I think there are many countries who are really being successful in handling the environment. They go back to the nature-based solution. Yes, I think development doesn't mean, I said that is what is the definition of development. Is as I believe as a planner, that is development, it can be looked into many ways. So I think that is the natural disaster versus development. I think we have to go back to nature-based solution. So that is one of the areas that I would like to share with you. When you want to see the nature-based solution, you can also check on the website of us, and also UN Environment. What is we are now promoting the nature-based solution, and the COP26 in Glasgow. Hopefully this year, we are also talking about climate change and going towards a nature-based solution. And pencemaran Pasir Gudang, I also read about this. But I think that is what we need to do, is that to look at the source of the pencemaran, the source of the pollution, the polluters, and then we take action against that. But I think this is action. It can be it's not only action. It can be many ways. Action, it can be penalty to the polluters, but also what's next after we give the penalty. What's next? Is it enough to bring them to court and that's it? But we have also to look into how we can overall planning for that particular area. I think we have to go beyond court cases. So I think this is very important, to work together with the people around there, to work together with them, and also in terms of maybe installing the technology or moving to another place. There's a lot of things that we can discuss, but this one have to go through discussion. That is very important. And then the yes, I think you mentioned about the pencemaran Pasir Gudang and overcrowding. So I think this is overcrowding, and also we don't call it in Africa, in many countries they call it slum, but I think in Malaysia we call it squatters, just to be better. That is, but I think that is very important for us now to look into the integrated approach. We cannot be putting up development and then pushing the population towards the end. I have also a discussion with the government of Kenya tomorrow. How we would like to look into the providing the affordable housing. So more often than not, we are pushing people to the back. But I think we should include them. That's why in my last slide just now is an integrated approach and people-centered. I think a lot of things from my experience in Seberang in Penang and working together with all of you, and when we discuss with people, when we discuss with the community, they know what they want, and they understand. This is many examples I can share with you, many examples through my own 30 over years as a planner in Malaysia, that when you talk to the people, they will give you the answer. Maybe not in terms of engineering formula, but they can give you some answer where you can do the proper planning at the end of the day. So I think, believe me, people process, public participation, and of course, top down. I believe in top down also, because the leader must have the vision, and I believe in bottom up. Bottom up, and at the middle is the convergence of ideas. So we have the top down, bottom up, and convergence of ideas. I hope I can end with that conclusion, Prof. Over to you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Dato' Sri. So with that, sorry, I'm unable to read all the question for today because we have limited time, and Dato' Sri have another meeting. She has to postpone it already for a few minutes. With that, I'd like to thank Her Excellency Dato' Sri Town Planner Maimunah Muhammad Sharif. Okay, just now I forgot to mention Town Planner, the TPR there. So thank you very much, Dato' Sri. We town planners in Malaysia were really proud of your achievement, being the executive director of UN Habitat, and then keep up the good work. And then I think there's a request from the host. Okay, if everybody can turn on your camera so that we can take your photos here. Okay, and so okay, Dr. Azwan, are you ready? Okay.
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, so you can count.
Okay. Get ready. Okay, please hold on the camera, please. Okay. Please stay. Wait for a while. Okay. Thank you for everyone.
Okay, thank you very much. And then for those who like to see the slide and the recording, we'll post it in our FSP website. And then I think perhaps there's quite a number from Plan Malaysia as well, so we can send it to the corporate Plan Malaysia as well for the corporate to distribute. And then those from other universities also, we can send to the dean or to the head of Department of Town Planning. Okay, so with that, we end our session today. So once again, thank you very much, Dato' Sri. Okay, really appreciate you sharing your knowledge and experience with all of us. And then we hope to be able to meet you again in maybe another webinar, and then hopefully face-to-face after the lockdown has ended and COVID is under control. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, and to everybody who are here, thank you very much for your participation. Inshallah, we meet again in the future. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good afternoon. Okay, Assalamualaikum.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Salam. Thank you, Datuk Sri.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Rindu Malaysia.
InsyaAllah boleh balik lagi soon.
Okay, yeah.
Nanti this year Datuk Sri banyak ni lah, 100 tahun planning, so there will be a lot of
Yes.
activities.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So even the universities pun different universities would have different activities.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Bye bye. I have to
Bye.
leave now.
Bye.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Bye bye.
Salam.